Now at 6 a.m., I have just finished a video call with my parents and turned off my phone. I couldn't hold back my tears. I'm just really missing my home, Shanghai, and the place where I grew up. I just really wanted to go back to there right now. Childhood is like contemplating a beautiful region as one rides backwards. One really becomes aware of the beauty of that moment, that very instant when it begins to vanish. Says Soren Kierkegaard. Some places are so beautiful I cannot help but reminisce. And the only thing that's missing is the one I always miss, said Renata Suzuki. Memories are the cruelest things in life that can easily bathe our faces in tears and gradually dismantle our mental defense. At the same time, they are the loveliest things that can fully warm up our hearts and tightly tug at our souls to empty the loneliness buried deep down. Still, I remember the exact scenery of Henshan Road, a road in Shanghai that imprints the most childhood memories to me. When you walk through the brightly lit modern buildings of the so-called Magic City, a short distance away, you can reach another world, the alleyways of Henshan Road, which look calm and silent. It is hard to imagine that this kind of quiet or mundane lifestyle can coexist wonderfully and harmoniously with the dazzling skyscrapers shining under the sun and the neon lights under the night. I stared at the pictures I took, continuously revoking countless waves of ineffable happiness tangled with melancholy. The spiritual embodiment of Henshan Road thoroughly roots in my innermost soul, for its incomparable sense of ordinary life, remarkable scenery, and sweetest people I've ever met there. Henshan Road runs for 2.3 kilometers between Xujiahui, the commercial center to the south, and Huaihai Road, the fashionable shopping street to the north in Shanghai's former French concession, and it is a quiet and elegant passage. The French constructed those two bustling areas in the 1920s. Henshan Road is lined with European-style buildings and leafy trees. It is a well-known bar street because many of its buildings are now used as bars. However, from my memory, I enjoy the early period of Henshan Road, where the alleyways life was prevalent. The neighbors helped each other, lived together in harmony, and spent their leisure time chatting and sunbathing. It is more like a big family showing the warmest and touching picture of life in ancient residential buildings of Shanghai. What first comes into the eye of the photo is a broad view of Henshan Road. In comparison to the skyscrapers aloft the trade centers, which are the most straightforward epitome of Shanghai, the view of small Western-style houses and the feeling of people hustling the ordinary life that Henshan Road evinces is more amiable and unforgettable. As the photo obscures the seemingly unending road, it evokes numerous memories, details, and feelings of warmth, like unraveling a forgotten present box. I still remember the neighboring grandpa just stood outside the house, wiping his back with a wet towel. He wrung the towel and poured the water from the wash basin to the street while we turned around and walked up the creaky wooden stairs under the bright moonlight. The simplicity of life was just everywhere. Along the road, I remembered every charming and meaningful store I had been to. For example, there are miscellaneous assortments of stores selling vintage collections, fashion brands, and sneakers to represent part of Shanghai's internationalized elements. Besides these modernized traces, it is reminiscent about visiting some of the stores decorated with delicate old paintings and newspapers. It's like a time machine, visually bringing you back to the 19th century. The shopping assistants are in a dress of chanson. The lights are slightly yellow, and accompanying with a European-style jazz background music. Most importantly, there are stores selling traditional foods like soup dumplings and wontons. Filling the streets with the smell of grilled meat and ongoing chatter, the small business owners ignite the whole street with their rusted carts and cash boxes. The hustle and bustle of city life are always comforting. Shifting my sight to another perspective, it reminded me of its environmental structure. Henshan Road's extraordinary scene does not pertain to the glorious modernized building, but rather the natural setting entrenched by its cultural background. The trees are standing on the two sides of the street like English royal soldiers, with extreme solemnity, waiting for the queen to appear. The pavement, embedded with grey bricks, are partially dimmed, contrasting the white wall and the red paint. The buildings there were all established hundreds of years ago, reflecting the antiquity of Shanghai. The best time to enjoy the view of Henshan Road is during the summer evening, to watch the sun gradually dye the entire sky orange. With a bottle of fresh watermelon drink from the local store, sitting at the wooden bench with grandpas, listening to the cicadas' unending discussion, embracing the summer breeze, seeing the plain sky turning into a grandiose paint. Nothing is better than it. Cars are not allowed to drive through certain areas, so the smoke from the kitchen chimneys perfectly substitutes the vehicle exhaust. The scent spreads out into the air and takes possession of the street, arousing one's appetite. The only change will be the faded leaves falling from the trees covering the road with a dark yellow coat during winter. Hence, the Asian pieces from life, combining the nature, render individuals a mental assuagement against all the stress, living the tranquil moments to enjoy. By looking closer to the people occasionally caught by the camera, I thought of the people I met at Henshan Road when I was young. I still remember the old lady who sells fried rice balls at the crossing every workday evening. The lady was there since I was in the middle school. I would always run directly to there and line up, even though many people were already, mostly office workers. Some would take a cigarette to alleviate the stress, while some chat to the grandpas sitting on the benches. I would grab my book and finish as many assignments as possible to watch more television shows when I got home. The old lady seemed to remember me and gave me extra rice balls each time. For the sticky rice outside, you can choose white, purple, or mixed. Someone will put fried dough sticks in it, while someone put mustard, bacon, salted egg yolk to make it taste saltier. Shanghainese love sweetness, so at the end they sprinkle a little bit of sugar. The taste of salty and sweet, and the feel of soft and crunchy are all in this one piece of food. Nobody would reject it. I will never forget her smile and affable voice. The most authentic feelings among people's interactions are like fires warming and healing my heart. After years, I came back here with my camera. A large area near the corner of the road had been demolished, and the developers have closed the land, and several large cranes were working closely on the construction. As Shanghai grew, this area became increasingly popular, with many residential homes. Many Asian houses were eventually demolished, and the area was redeveloped as a diplomatic club. In stark contrast to the traditional Chinese architecture, European-style apartment houses and homes were built, and many of these buildings can still be found in the area today. As I wanted to capture the last moment of it, an old man said, "Why do you take a picture of such a dilapidated house?" I wondered the same question, for whether I will be able to see these layings next time when I come back to Shanghai. However, the answer is always there, because this is the place where I grew up and carried the most of my memories. When I was a child, my longing for Shanghai was only for the many landmarks of the modern city. After I became more mature and away from home, my greatest expectation of a city pivoted on finding pieces of life from normality. Things end, but memories are the most precious property one should cherish. The view of Henshan Road and the incredible experiences I encountered may be gone from my sight, but never my heart and mind. The life of ordinary people in alleyways is old-fashioned, but the warmth among them is fresh. Such fireworks will continue from generation to generation, although many things in the flow of time dissipated in the invisible. we can still really feel the charming lifestyle mixed with the city construction of Hengshan Road. I am always grateful and proud to be born in there.